Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Some more Raid Shadow Legends on the free-to-play account. We are on... what day are we on? Day 70. We've got a new CvC. This is an important one because there are extra special rewards this time around tying in with the 4th anniversary event. So what I thought we'd do is we'd give some CvC tips from a free-to-play perspective. I think a lot of the videos out there concentrate more on the end game kind of stuff, how to maximize out the top tier rewards. And whilst obviously on my main account I do follow a lot of those tips and try and score as highly as I can on CvC, for an early game free-to-play account I think some of those tips perhaps don't serve you that well. So I'm just going to go through some basics of CvC, talk about how I've approached it so far, maybe look at ways that we can try and improve our score, and so on and so forth. Before we do get going, as always guys, a thumbs up brightens my day. Subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Right, so we have been paired with this other clan from, I want to say, Greece. That looks like some Greek stuff. And yeah, we're losing at the moment, but it's fine. We'll see how we go. Now, first off, you want to make a little note as to whether your clan versus clan has personal rewards or not. Obviously this time around it does. If you don't win the CvC, you don't get any of this stuff. Okay, so bear that in mind when you're deciding whether you want to push for 100,000 points on an early game account, which is doable. I think you can do it. It's going to take a big effort. Obviously, if your clan loses, you put all that big effort in and you don't get much. So realistically, what I think is a much easier thing to keep hold of here is this 600,000 points here to see whether we're going to, as a clan, unlock all this stuff. Now, realistically, it looks like we will breeze it because we're obviously, 10 minutes in and we've got 163,000 points. The clan, unfortunately, is tier 1. So I guess first step is you need to find the right level clan for you. It is hard to get into a clan early on. It's really easy to get into a basic clan. To get into a clan that's clearing like brutal or nightmare on a beginning account is quite difficult. So this is my first CvC in this particular clan. So we'll just sort of see how it goes. Now, first tip is just like a complete no-brainer basic one, and you're probably going to be like, yeah, duh. Up your game time. You know, if you enjoy this game and you want to, get the most out of these clan rewards, you want to do okay in the member section, you want to put in your shift, then by all means, just play the game a little bit more than you would do normally. CvC is on for 2 days. Maybe you watch your movie, your Netflix, maybe you're watching Predator.
Go! Get to the chopper!
Whatever it is, Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
And you decide, right, I'm going to actually just grind out some extra CvC points, make some more progress in the game. That's obviously just a pretty basic one. The next is when you do go onto the CvC, of course, we do have here the objectives, and we know we've got double rewards on potion keeps, we've got double rewards on Minotaur. So early on, you want to be targeting these. We've also got Fire Knight. So realistically, they're the 3 things that we've got. Now, this game is an absolute bastard in terms of lining things up because we've got the fusion on at the moment. We're not going for it on this particular account. I am on my main, and it's just annoying because none of this stuff at the moment is lining up. I can't remember the schedule. We do have a Fire Knight tournament. It's only using epic champions, so this is a perfect example of why this game kicks you in the nuts, because it's giving you a Fire Knight tournament, you have to use epic champions only, and it doesn't line up with the fusion. So if you spend time getting extra points in Fire Knight for CvC, well, you're not going to be able to do epic only on a new account. You're just not going to do it, and you're taking time away from the CvC. So yeah, it's just kind of how it is. But I know that I'm going to be focusing on Minotaur. I've got a couple of champs who I want to get built fairly soon. So coming in here, doing a Minotaur run with a couple of champs we're working on, like our Dracomorph, like our Virgus. That will help us out. We'll get double points for doing it. That seems to make sense. That's a good area for us to mine. Now, also, Potion Keeps is on doubles. As you can see, we're waiting on some Ascensions in our champions. This ties into another point. You want to be doing your final Ascension. This one here, this last 6-star Ascension. You want to be doing that on CvC. I don't have the pots to do this. I might consider doing that on CvC. But you also need to bear in mind your Arbiter missions, because some of these have got upgrade final ascensions of champs, and I don't think they're retroactive, which is a little bit annoying. So we do need to bear that in mind a little bit. I'm going to watch out for that. So go for the double points, basically, is the next tip. Play a bit more, go for double points. Pretty straightforward so far. Now, this next tip, I tend to save my books for CvC because you get so many points for upgrading your champion. So we've got 20 rare books to spend, 19 epic and 8 legendary. Now, I'm not going to use all of these on CvC, but we've pulled Venom Mage. He's a great champion. He's going to help us out in Clan Boss with some damage reduction from his heal reduction passive. He's got big poisons. Poison explodes on his A1, and also he does decreased defense and decreased attack. So he is an absolute god tier epic for Clan Boss. He's great for Dragon. He's somebody we want to invest in and do up to 60. So what we're going to do with him is we're going to book him up. I think we probably want all the books going into him. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he needs 12 books. We're probably going to go for all of them because I think we want this 50% chance of activating poisons. What I will do though, however, is we're going to try and see if we can get the A2 and A3, because the A1 is not quite as important, I don't think. So we'll go for 6 books and see where we go. And we do also get champ training points for that at the moment. So there is champ training going on. So again, if you can double dip at any point, you want to go for it. And we've got really lucky there. Right, so 2 more books potentially could finish this off. And they go in the A1. I guess that's to be expected. So we'll try again with another 2. See if we can hit. We've got 1 of them done. So we'll do the A3, 1 more book. And if it goes in the A1, it's not the end of the world. Okay, right. So I might stop now for a little bit, because 8 epic books, we might get more value out of those on another champion than increasing his 40% chance to activate poison up to 50. I'm not saying I don't want this booking. All I'm saying is at the moment, with the 8 epic books that we've got, it might be better. So we can book champions out. So that's a good way of doing it. Now, what I've also done whilst I've been farming a lot of campaign is I have been saving up copies of Executioner, because I think he's somebody that I want to build out for Faction Wars. He's good champion. He's got AoE stuns. I need to get him in the stun set. So he doesn't have AoE stuns. He's got AoE attack, decreased turn meter, decreased speed. Actually quite a good ability. I farmed up a bunch of copies. So rather than using these rare books, we can actually... why isn't that working? We want to put in copies of Executioner into himself, basically. I've moved them to reserve vaults. I always do that. Let's go find them. I normally shit myself and think I've deleted my Executioners. Right, to collection. That's what we want, isn't it? Have we moved them here? Yes, we move them into the master vaults. Oh, we don't have space. Okay, let's do a couple of that. How many can we do? 3. I'm just doing collections of 3. But you'll get the idea anyway. We go onto our Executioner, we upgrade his skills, and we can feed him copies of himself rather than burning our rare books. And we get the same number of points as if it was actually going to be rare books that we're using. So all the champions you can get from campaign, you want to book them out during the CvC. So Executioner is a good champion. Greybeard is another champion who you can do this with. Kind of interested in building him, albeit we've pulled a fair few epics now that maybe his value is diminishing to us. But again, we can do it with War Maiden. I did this on my last CvC, trying to book her out. So again, go into my vault, I'll have a little look. I've saved up copies. Muckstalker, again, another one I've saved copies of for basically this this process. We should have a Muckstalker somewhere. And we can just keep doing this. We can upgrade these skills, and yeah, it's quite a good source of points. It basically allows you to get book points, 500 points per champion you're upgrading, and it's pretty useful. It doesn't work very well with uncommons and common champions. You get very few points for that. But again, if you're going to do your campaign farming and you've got a rare to book out, early on, I think that's a good source of points. And then next we just get into like just play the game kind of regularly. You know, make sure you're getting all your arena battles done. Again, we're struggling a little bit in Gold 1. I haven't worked on the arena team. It's probably a little bit, without getting a proper nuker, it's maybe a little bit far. Again, you want to come in here and get all of your tag arena battles done. Again, we're in Bronze 1 at the moment. Probably worthwhile trying to progress in tag arena. Again, early on, it's what you want to do. So you're wanting to get realistically 18 champions to level 60. That's going to take you a bit of time. We've got Kale, who we can swap onto a nuker once we've got Dracomore finished. And then we've got Gembo, who's a Void nuker, who we're going to be building out as well. So once I've got those two done, particularly as well, Husk I'm interested in 16. He could do as a DPS for Tag Arena. Same for Oburo. So we've got some good champs, I think, and we should be able to then move up a couple of tiers because obviously we do get a decent amount of points for doing the arena. Let's have a little look. Arena objectives. Does it tell us? How do we do objectives? Arena. So gold bar medals, basically, it's 5 per tag battle. It's obviously the higher up you go in tag, the more points you're going to get. The next one that I do also save as well is my Great Hull bonus upgrades. I think this is worthwhile saving because, again, we can get like 1,000 points from doing this one up to level 5. Don't quite have enough silver medals to get this up. We will presumably by the end of it, and again the points just go up the more and more, so I do save my Great Hall bonus ones. As I said, Final Ascension, we might try and get Lysandra done. We could maybe get Dracomorph done, and we'll have to sort of see on that. It's kind of handy that the potion keeps it doubled because that will allow us to farm potions, not feel too guilty about missing out points. Another thing I save for CvC is I do actually save my crafting. Unfortunately at the moment faction wars we're not progressing terribly well with, so we don't have any of the legendary mats yet. We've spent all the ones the game gave us for free, but we could easily come in and we could do rank and rarity, craft up 10 pieces here and hope we get some 5-star good stuff, and that's given us like 1,000 points as well, which is pretty good. Most of this stuff probably isn't going to be usable, but you never know your luck. You might get something tasty. Like these boots could have been speed main 5-star. That would have been delicious, but sadly they're not. But a couple of 5-star pieces here and there with the with speed substats could be good. Defense percent gloves 5-star, accuracy, speed, crit rate, crit damage, really nice piece there. So as I say, I do tend to save my bits and bobs for the CvC. So again, that's something that I can go off and do. Next, again, and this is also a little bit tricky on an early account, but it's one of the reasons why you probably want to try and build out accounts quite wide, is if you can do faction wars to the highest level you possibly can. I've got some good champs. We need to get these built, but ultimately the more faction war bosses you can beat and get onto the next stage, again, you're going to get more and more points. So that's going to be a little dependent upon where you're up to with your faction wars. But again, you might decide, like I can progress on this Lizardman one quite a bit. I can invest in my Muckstalker, Venomage, Dracomorph. We've got a couple of Jizzers and a Bogwalker. Maybe by the end of this CvC we can clear this first boss here. So maybe I can try and get on with doing that today. Again, something to bear in mind. And then obviously we've got stuff like Clan Boss. You're going to get points per chest. Unfortunately, I can't quite 4-key Nightmare. So at the moment I'm doing 2 keys in Nightmare, 2 keys in Brutal. And as I say, once we've got Dracomorph done, once we've got Venomage done, I expect the Clan Boss damage to increase. So they're kind of some of the tips for how to get more points. I think it's also important, worthwhile saying what not to do for CvC. And this is from an early game perspective only. On an end game main account, you would do some of these things. First off is gear upgrades. Now, as a free-to-play player, silver is always going to be a very precious resource. If you spend it during CvC, you cannot spend it during artifact enhancement. So if you are trying to get a fusion done, if you think the reward's going to be better for an artifact enhancement later, I've just done I've basically spent silver getting the rewards out of the last artifact enhancement. I think that's better than using them in CvC, because silver is just so tight. You will always be starving for silver as an early game free-to-play player. So gear objectives, even if it's doubled on the CvC points, I would tend to ignore it. So it's doubled today. I'm going to be completely ignoring this because I just think it's a waste of silver at this point. I'd rather make my CvC points up somewhere else and save my silver for the artifact. Same goes for shards. I decided to pop everything on the 2Xs, so Sacreds, Voids, Ancients. I would keep all my shards. I wouldn't be pulling them as an early game player for this, because whilst you can score big points by getting new champions for the first time, it's not worth it. You're crippling your account. You're going to get nowhere near as many epics. 2x rates on the epics is huge. Like if we look at some of the champs we've pulled over the last 20 shards on the double rates, we've got Venomage, top tier champion. We've got Naburo, really good champion. Husk, top tier. Lady Annabelle, really good. Gala Longbraid's potentially quite a useful champ. Alicia, top tier. Crimson Helm, potentially useful, that kind of thing. Anax, really good poisoner. We're swimming in poisoners though. We've got quite a few on this account. But you get my meaning. If you pull your shards in the CvC, yes, you'll get points, but I think your overall count progression is going to suffer because you're going to get a lot less epics. So I really wouldn't be pulling shards. Same goes for any fragment summons. If and when we get enough fragments for Drexstar, I wouldn't be pulling them in a CvC. Yes, it's a lot of points, like 30,000 or something like that, but the champion chase points on an early account are going to be much more valuable for you. Same for you, Carl, because you're going to you're starving for shards until you can get Ultra Nightmare cleared every day. Shards are just going to be a problem, so you need to save them for 2Xs, pretty much 2Xs only, until you've got a really solid base of champions. So that's it. So they would be my tips. Don't do your shards, don't do silver, don't do gear upgrades, but the rest of it, book up champions and just play as much as you can, maybe a little bit more. Right, I hope that was helpful. I hope somebody will score some extra points. I think we've only got to get to 10,000 each, so we've already done it. I think we're going to get absolutely hammered in this, because I'm not sure how much the rest of these guys are into CvC, but at the end of the day, as long as we get to the 600,000, I think we're going to be happy. I've been the Filthy Casual. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take it easy, guys. Peace.